Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pro Wrestling World Talks with Dan and Mac.
Hello, PWW Talks faithful. Welcome to the, what do you call it, post-Thanksgiving Day hangover edition of PWW Talks. Excuse me a second.
The long wind after the long wind. I don't know.
Long-winded, also while trying to not choke to death on a vape hit. Yeah, kids, don't do that.
To go. I'm seeing you hit it during the intro, and I'm just like, he is not ready.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking, I'm like, I can do this. I'm a professional. I'm good to go. I can do this. And then it's just like, no. I tried and it failed. Now my cat is playing with my Ethernet cord. So that's going to be fun to kind of battle with. I'm trying to figure out who that is. It's probably Beetlejuice, the younger, the more mischievous cat. The one cat that's also afraid of his own goddamn shadow. Let's also start
an inside joke unrelated to your cat that I think is just apropos. Plastic bag. Yes, you do.
Plastic bag. Yes. Gandhi, of course, talking about that ADD episode with Tom Green from Clone High.
Yep.
And apparently, maybe another time. Well, so for everybody, I hope everybody here had that's listening or viewing had a tremendous Thanksgiving. How was yours, Mac? How was yours on beautiful Long Island?
Cornbread, damn it, cornbread.
Yes, I did not have cornbread. It was all right. We did something for the little one's birthday, which was more Thanksgiving because Kelly's parents were out of town. So actual Thanksgiving Day, we just had like chicken parm, something like that. You know,
chicken parm.
Yeah, nothing. I mean, we already had a Thanksgiving though, so
yeah,
it was kind of like, we'll just do something small. It was just me, her, and Kelly, and it worked fine.
Yes, we ended up at a establishment in Worcester, actually, the Luciano's at Union Station in Worcester. We ended up there.
So hold on, did they have the cannolis this time?
They did.
Okay.
They did.
Did Dan get a cannoli?
I did. Quite a few, actually.
Dan was happy, though.
Dan was happy, yes. Tiramisu was also had by Stephanie. She was quite happy. By the way, this is a heatless program this week for the first time in quite a while.
At least 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yes, it's been a while. Especially me last week, because I was really in the red hot seat. If you could tell on the program, folks, I think you could. It was just like, I was a little preoccupied thinking about the dread of what I was going to have to deal with eventually, of groveling and apologizing, which, used to it, but still at the same time, it's something you really don't like doing.
Not at all.
But so we ended up at Luciano's, which great carving station, great prime rib, great turkey. Some of the sides, they had like a weird cranberry stuffing that was just like, I am not even trying that.
Seen that a lot lately, though, the last couple of years. A lot of places experimenting with the cranberry stuffings.
Yeah. And as a fellow contributor and someone that tries to go to restaurants and support them as a patron, I need to explain to you, don't. Thank you. I feel like Joe Biden, when they were talking about Iran, got involved. Don't. Pardon me for a second.
Shut up, bitches.
I normally don't comment on politics. I'm not going to, but it's weird to get drawn up a pardon for an 11-year period. Like that to me is extremely. I have a lot of questions. 11 years, like that's a very specific span of time.
Hold on. Let me ask this question before we go any further into this conversation, because I think it's important to differentiate.
Yes.
Don't you think the other guy wouldn't have done the same thing?
Oh yes. No, he's going to do that to himself, actually.
Well,
so
yeah,
I mean,
that's kind of my point. That's kind of my point. You're making my point for me. I do think he is.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. No, he is. No. He is not. He is not innocent in any of this. Any not innocent whatsoever. But this is over an 11-year period of time. Like this is over a decade. Like I think anybody on this planet would give 11 years. Like if we could go back and be like, we'll give you 11 years back of your life to undo some things. 95% of us would do that.
Probably.
We would just wait a second. So 2007, 2007. Like I'm just doing the numbers. It's like okay. All right.
You know, hey, I can't believe I'm going to make this analogy, but it's worth it for a lot of people. I feel like it's like a get out of jail free card for the last X amount of years. You just have like unlimited cards.
It's like, it's just, you had that, of course, when he makes the announcement, it was after Thanksgiving weekends, that he was just worked on the whole fucking time.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, could you pass the butter and also pardon me? Like, it's just this, you're out in 2 months, Dad. It's like,
what did you say, Dad? 1,000 pardons. I'm sorry. 1,000 pardons.
He's just sitting there. So how am I drawing this up? Like it's like the conversation between cousin Eddie and Clark Griswold in Vacation. So how much do you need, Eddie? Yeah, about $25,000. It's exactly that. How Hunter went to Joe. So how much long do you need? About 11 years. Fuck me. What? What? They just got you on this. 11 years. What? 11 fucking years? Jesus.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. Like, really? Like but the best part of it for him is he's got still, because I wonder that kicks in on the 20th of 25. So for the next 2 months, he could just go fucking buck wild because it's retroactive. It's just like, well, it's from January 1st of 2014 until January 20th of 2025.
It might, I don't know. It might be zero.
He's getting his wild oats out for the next 2 months. It's just like, I'm fine. Like, but then he's going to go back to being a civilian. He's just like, oh God. Yeah, well, carry on, my wayward soul, on that one. So hell of a weekend for pro wrestling fans. The people that watch WWE, and I think the amount of there were more people that were probably watching Golden Girl marathons over the weekend on like Wii or something than watched anything that AEW produced, either on the previous Wednesday or last weekend. They were trounced. Some of the lowest rated numbers combined, they didn't even do 1 million.
Oh,
I think combined their total viewership did not even hit like
I don't think it was 1 million
a
combined.
good episode of Raw, like a good even half of what Raw did that week. Like it was that bad. And it needs to be stated at first to kind of come on here, not because I'm gloating, but it needs to kind of be said that once again that I was not a hater. I was just telling all of you what was going to fucking happen. That was it. I was not a hater. I was not someone that was sitting there and trying to grab shit from the sky and telling you that this was the way this was going to go. I said it 5 years ago. I said, this is probably what's going to happen. And you're going to be saying this in 5 years. You're going to be like, because you're riding on this big high now. And I ate shit for years. I ate it for years. But it's over now. It's over. Because now on this platform and anywhere else when it comes to AEW, you now can sit there and say that from day one, I was right. Day one, I sat there and I said, he's inexperienced. He's got people in charge that have never done this before either. And for a couple of years there, when they had Cody Rhodes, the company at least had a direction. And they were going in a good direction. It was on the up. Because the direction in the last 3 years has been terrible. The worst. And to think that 3 years ago, this is when I thought that this company had the best legitimate chance that it ever did to ever topple WWE or at least get a generous size market share. But they blew it. And other factors bled into that. As last weekend.
Oh, here we go.
As last weekend proved that the reason why I started with AEW here is because of the fact that Survivor Series, one of the participants in the main event was CM Punk. And who did AEW fire last September?
With cause.
With cause, exactly. I was just going to say that. To fire CM Punk. You fired CM Punk. The Young Bucks took a victory lap in the Chicago arena in a half-empty building, mind you. And 1 year later, by the way, this is within 2 months, he returns to WWE in the place that he never would have thought of it, a place that no one in the right mind thought he would ever go back to. But because you boggled it so badly, creatively, and also backstage-wise, keeping him happy, keeping everybody at bay, keeping everybody on the same page. Instead of doing that,
smoke,
you fired him. You fired him. And then 2 months later, he walks back into WWE, and then 1 year after that, he teams up with a guy that has gone on the record that he didn't like him personally. He didn't like him at all. He thought he was a harper on him backstage. And how CM Punk at certain points also said that if he handpicked the Shield, Roman Reigns would not be in it. He actually said it probably would have been Chris Hero. Perish the fucking thought on that.
Yeah, seriously.
But
it's bad enough we got John Moxley out of that too.
Yeah, like I said, it's tough for me to kind of shit on Moxley. It maybe with his current creative direction, yes, but not as far as a performer because he's a name.
He is
like
he's a good performer.
That is if he came back tomorrow, the place would go nuts. Like it would be a real kind of oh my god moment, which the state of things with that company, it could be tomorrow for all we know. Jesus Christ.
I think he's one that's never going to come back.
No,
never say never.
No, he'll come back.
He'll
come back. There's too much money there. There's too much money there. Like there's too much where, and I know everybody's going, well, he'd hate to be on that system. You mean to tell me a matchup with Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, against a returning Dean Ambrose, unless you just say, fuck it, we're just going to get... Now, because that would be my thing, right? Where Do you have him come back as Ambrose? No. He comes back as Moxley, and the most random thing, and I think that one of the best returns in the history, if I had to book it, and in a perfect world, because if we're going into last week, if it wasn't CM Punk, can you imagine the insanity of the whole industry if instead of we hear CM Punk come out, the cult of personality to come out and be the fifth member of the Bloodline, the OG Bloodline team, if all of a sudden you just hear the Wild Thing chord and then Moxley comes barreling out, just the whole, literally the entire industry, fandom-wise, of both companies would literally explode. It would just be an implosion moment of just like, how the fuck did that just happen?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
In a perfect world, it would have just been fantastic. And the fact is that you really, and everybody's going, well, they just got a $50 million deal. Yeah, but I also don't know if Max and Warner Brothers has a threshold of ratings. And I know their ratings are supposed to improve when they go to the app and they start simulcasting on TBS and then going on Max at the same time.
Right.
Which they said the numbers should improve with that, which, I mean, when you're offering 2-for-1 specials on your pay-per-views, when you're offering 40% off deals on attendance, and you're also having to go to smaller buildings. And this is all because it's a decision that you made to fire now who could be possibly the main eventer of WrestleMania next year. So in a 3-year period, Tony Khan chased away probably another main eventer for them within a 3-year period of them leaving. Because he chased down Cody Rhodes, who main evented 39 and 40. Both nights of 40, mind you.
Yeah.
And at WrestleMania 41, there's a good possibility that CM Punk is going to be in the main event against whom? We don't know. I think the Roman Reigns CM Punk main event is really at play right now just because of the reaction. And I'll explain later on when we talk about the main event.
Yeah. I'm right there with you on that one. Trust me.
Yeah, because we'll talk about the social media interactions, but we'll also talk about everything that led into that. But it kind of, you have to wonder how much Tony Khan was thankful for this Thanksgiving between everything that's going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I was waiting
and,
for
of
it.
course, everything that's going on currently with All Elite Wrestling. I don't know one person that literally has 2 dumpster fires going on in their same complex. Like, it's impossible. Like, to have a team that is so terrible, so bad in the NFL right now that, again, when you're supposed to have this generational talent as quarterback and also a Super Bowl winning coach where he's probably going to get shit canned at the end of the year. Because, again, you decided to hire the GM that chased Jim Harbaugh out of San Francisco when he had just led you to multiple conference championship games and a Super Bowl for that matter.
Yeah.
But, we're going to take the GM side on that one, which he went and just completely shit-canned everything in San Francisco of what Harbaugh had built. So then you have that. And then you have this situation that is really probably the most chaotic and disorganized professional wrestling organization that I've ever seen. That includes the Dixie Carter years of AEW, of TNA. That includes WCW during the years 99 and 2000, 2001. And I might have to throw Herb Abrams' UWF in there, which was also run on cocaine. So this by far.
I mean, who's to say AEW isn't? We don't know.
Well, It's the amount of money that's been spent. That's the problem.
I agree.
And it's not like we're the Dodgers now. You can sit there and the Dodgers have spent all this money. Well, now they got 2 chips, so it's like, okay. That's you look at the Celtics last year. They spent a shit ton of money in the luxury tags, but they won the chip. AEW hasn't.
Yeah. So I know you love to shit on them, so I'll make the analogy for you. AEW is like the Bruins. They keep spending money. They ain't bringing home a cup.
Well, they ain't bringing home. Well, it's a sad state of affairs. Like I said earlier in the chat, I said the Red Sox could be the number 2 right behind the Celtics right now because the Bruins have aged out and the Patriots are at least 2 years away. At least.
Easily, yeah.
I don't know if Gerard Mayo is going to be the coach, though. That's a problem.
Well, I was having this conversation with somebody else, and I basically said that I think that Mayo is not really the problem as much as his staff. His staff is also pretty young and or new to those position coaches, coordinators, etc. Like they're all pretty new too. He needs established assistant coaches. He needs established position coaches. He needs all that. You can't have it where it's like everybody else is new too. That's not a recipe for success for a brand new coach. It's just not.
You need other people around you to kind of, because I look at was it time for us to move on from Belichick? Probably. I
don't. I would have given him maybe 2 more years. I would have given him 2 years without effing Mac Jones as your quarterback.
Does he draft Drake May? Do you think?
That's the problem. I don't know. And
that's the issue I have.
So at that point, right, and this is kind of where that discussion needs to kind of segue a little bit. We also have to understand that Belichick, as coach, should probably not have been in charge of player personnel or football operations, whatever you want to call it.
Not at all.
He shouldn't have. Especially at the end. Because at the end, he is going to try to keep wheeling and dealing and making all these moves to get Rutgers guys, because that was his niche. And I just, that wasn't working. Yeah,
hey, didn't McCourty come from Rutgers? So it did work out at one point.
Yeah, at one point. That's the
point. He did get McCourty from Rutgers. So it's like, all right, well, he did hit there.
it's like Spider-Man and Family Guy. Everybody gets one. Tell him, Peter. Apparently
everybody gets one.
Yep.
It's that's the problem, because I know Drake May, I look at him, but it's like I look at Gerard Mayo and I'm like, I'd rather have Mike Vrabel. I'd rather have Mike Tomlin. I'd rather have.
Hold on, because I think this is an important, maybe not stat, but comparison, right? Drake May for the Patriots could be what Patrick Mahomes is for the Chiefs. Could be what Josh Allen is for Buffalo. Because he also is a quarterback that can make a chance at a run game. And he's a pretty good arm, too. Like, you've seen some of the passes he made in the last couple of weeks. And yeah, some of them look pretty hairy, but he's making them. He could be that guy, but it's not what Gerard Mayo is your coach.
He makes money throws, but at the same time, he makes NFL rookie quarterback throws.
Right. Like, that's why I'm saying.
But I look at it, and I'm just like,
he could be that guy, like I'm saying. But it's like I'm saying, it's not what Gerard Mayo was the coach.
No,
it's just not.
I'd rather a Mike Tomlin. I'd rather a Sean McVay. I don't know. Do you want Doug Peterson now? Maybe. I don't know. Probably not after. Even though I don't think he's calling the shots in Jacksonville front office wise. So I don't know if I could completely blame him for the team that they put around him, because he's dealing with a complete idiot as GM.
I'd really love, but it wouldn't happen at this point in time because they're both, I think, pretty solid in their roles as one of the high boss.
Yeah, Jim wouldn't be that bad.
Jim wouldn't be bad.
Even John either.
No, because John has had a running quarterback the last few years, so I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it at all.
Yes,
But
I don't want to bore people now with NFL
yeah, the one
talk.
I was gonna say the one last thing I'm gonna say about this is, regardless of who the coach may be next year, whether it be Gerard Mayer or somebody else, they need to draft some offensive linemen because
Without question, yeah, they need to get some linemen. They also need to get some receivers at this point. They need to be able to get
receivers too, but they need to protect their quarterback.
Linemen, yes, linemen
also,
especially,
and especially not just protecting the quarterback, but also just not making so many fucking pre-snap penalties.
Well, that's the problem when you don't have David Andrews running the ship either,
I know.
because and he's out. So I mean that's kind of a big, because he probably their best lineman center wise at least, and probably since I don't know, but probably I think of that whole era, and I look at it and I say, okay, you don't have him, so that's probably 95% of your problem on the line this year. Yeah. And of course, this is our sport. This is our what we call air check for EEI, or also at 98.5 Sports Hub. So I want everybody on PW Talks to understand that sometimes we have to mix that in. All right, it's just like we are auditioning every time. Like between Barstool Sports, please hire us, Portnoy. Come on, Dave. Come on, Dave. Come on.
Boo ran.
I even got sound bites. Come on, man.
I'll help you film goddamn one bite if I have to. Like if I got to stand outside in the cold and listen to you talk about fucking pizza for 2 hours, fine. As long as I get a slice, I'm fine.
Speaking of slices, how about that women's War Games match start off Survivor Series?
Well, we knew it was probably going to happen.
Yeah.
I think we both kind of were like, yeah, it's going to start. And it did.
I think it has the last 2-3 years, if I'm not mistaken.
It has. Wasn't one of the better ones. Like, it just. No. There were still some good moments. Like, of course, moments. EO. Yep. There were some great moments. And then there were some ones that was just like. Nia, I think, was. Nia looked overly cautious at certain points in this match.
Yeah. Which
I would say
to the point of botching.
Yes, she looked overly cautious, which is good, because there was. I think she's really trying to shake that narrative of her being reckless, and I think that, which is a good thing. But I also think in this match it hurt because. It really looked like she was just like, I'm not trying to kill this person. It's like, well, I understand you're not trying to kill them, but at least look like you're trying to fucking maim them. What are you doing? Like, you got to have some force behind this.
It wasn't even the force for me, Dan. It was, she just really, it was noticeable. Like, she waited for them to be in the right body position because she did not want to give them a headshot or
she didn't want to hurt anybody.
A gut check with it. And I listen, I get that. I respect that. But there are better ways of doing it where it's not as noticeable. And this was not it. Like, it just was not it.
I was rather surprised that was when she started. I was like, I don't know if that's good. Because
that was another reason too that I was like,
because you got to worry about the wind. You got to worry about and I felt like that was hurting her in the end, because I remember at the end I'm like, oh, she's gassed. Like, this is because everything kind of looked. It didn't have the oomph on it.
I didn't think she was until the last 5 minutes or so.
The last 5 minutes, I was just like, okay. Like, you got to go.
By then, she wasn't really involved in the finish anyways. So
no, she wasn't. Which I think the way it should have ended with Rhea pinning Liv, it should have ended that way, because, number one, it really doesn't mean anything. And Rhea kind of needs to get something over Liv morally wise. I mean, she doesn't have to challenge Liv at this point for the title at this point, but still, she needs to be able to get some type of one-upmanship in the feud, because the last time that the two faced, Raquel Rodriguez screwed her over. Liv retained, so Liv kind of got the one-up in the feud, technically, But now you can have it finished where it's just like, well, I pinned you, and you haven't been pinned since which she hadn't been pinned in like 6 months. It was a while.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very Gunther Cody-esque, I felt like, where, Gunther doesn't really lose anything. He also doesn't win anything. And this kind of felt the same with Liv and Rhea.
Yeah, it was kind of a way to kind of be able to get Rhea to be like, hey. Now you wonder though if the orbital bone was even broken. Because it's like she takes the mask off of the Meg. All right, so what the hell did you work us? Did you work Meltzer? What are we doing here?
It's funny because I was looking at that mask, which I thought was a good, unique spin on that whole situation.
Right.
But then, she comes out, does a couple things, and takes the mask off, and I'm like, okay, I kind of figured that was going to happen because it had like those weird tooting horn things. So I was like, okay, that was kind of a tell already for me that something was going to happen with that mask, was going to get taken off. But I don't know. I like the match for what it was. It wasn't the best of them. It's hard to put it among the worst, except for some of the botches, but I thought it had some cool moments. I thought it was cool that Candice kind of jumped the line in front of Tiffany to come out second. I thought it was really cool that they were able to hide the Money in the Bank briefcase in the trash can until later.
Yeah, I love that. That was good.
That was good, yeah. And obviously the Swanton and Moonsault at the same time from Tiffany and Io, I thought was a pretty cool spot too. But I don't know.
I thought it checked all the boxes for what I expected it to do.
Yes.
Really all the spots in it. I mean, it was nice to have Io with that trash can spot, which God love her.
It's like a yearly spot at this point.
Which is fine.
It is.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it
because it's just funny.
She loves being in this match, my God. Every time really it's like War Games matches, I'll do it. It's like, all right, Io. We didn't need to be in. I want to do it. Okay, fine. Put you in.
Yep.
But you look at it, it's just like she's great at it. She's always entertaining in it. It checked all the boxes. I'm not going to say I felt like it was one of the best ones I've seen. I felt like I've seen better.
Good.
I thought it was good. Yeah, not great, but exactly. I thought it was good. And, my only criticism was I thought Nia was really kind of... She wasn't trying to kill anybody, which is good, but at the same time, it was noticeable that she wasn't trying to kill anybody, which is bad.
It was too safe on her part, and it was noticeable that she was being too safe. But
I respect that she's trying to be safe.
I 100% agree, but the thing is, when I think safe and I think not noticeable, like, I'm thinking, and this is like years ago at this point, but I think like Piper Niven and Alexa Bliss. Right? She knows Alexa has head issues, has had concussion issues. She has to do a spot where she's going to push Alexa into the ring post on the outside. She puts her hand behind Alexa's head to protect her.
Yep.
Like, it's not noticeable unless you're looking for it or unless you watch it again. Whereas this was the complete opposite. Nia is trying to be safe. 100% respect that. 100% am 100% for, doing things to protect them, because to be real, the guys got hurt. We'll talk about that later. But, none of the women got hurt that we know about anyways. And that's a testament to all 10 women. I just think that with Nia, it was a little bit too much. Just a little bit.
I mean, again, I can't, I'm not going to fault her for trying to be, because I feel like she is night and day a better performer of what she was 5 or 6 years ago.
God, yeah.
So I think from that perspective, I respect what she has been able to do as a performer. I also respect the fact that she was trying to be more cautious and more caring of her talent. And I'm not saying that she was overly reckless, but there were moments I was just like, Jesus Christ, not this time. Not this time. It was like, she's really trying here not to kill anybody, which is great. But the problem is it's noticeable. And I feel like she's going to get better with it. Or this might be a one-off. Maybe she'll go back. At least somebody is just going to go to her and be like, look, when you hit me, just fucking lay it in, but just don't look like you're ready to kill me with it.
Or just don't kill me with it.
Yeah. It's just like, if you don't feel comfortable with it, don't do the spot. That's the way I've always felt. It's like, if you don't feel comfortable with the spot, don't do it. And she didn't have to use the weapon. She could have had somebody else use it. It's like, with war games, you really don't need to have also all the plunder in it every time. I understand it's kind of just check the boxes, but I go back to WCW. They really never really had weapons. Every so often, maybe somebody would get creative, but not often. We're just like, oh, we're going to put 14 tables in the ring. It's like, what the fuck?
So let me ask you a question about that before we move on. Because I think that's an important thing to state, right? Like, they didn't have any of that shit in the WCW War Games or NWA, whatever it was. And I can get behind that. Do you feel that the weapons enhance the match or are unnecessary, or how do you feel about it in general?
It depends on the match, the kind of
The flow.
Okay.
Okay.
I felt like on the main event, it kind of needed it, because we'll explain in a bit.
Right,
Of course, when we get to the main event, I felt like this match, though, it's like, you don't need it. It's like, you got really some people in here, some really good athletic, like Io's athletic, Tiffany's athletic. You can just do things that just show people's athleticism instead of just trying to come out here and just trying to make it like a hardcore fest. Plus, two, you don't want to try to do a different War Games match. Try to do something where you don't need the weapons. Try to do it where you use where you use your surroundings as the weapon. Because you're in a cage match. The cage match is supposed to be the weapon.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to create offense based around the cage.
Yep.
And Pat Patterson did it against Bob Backlund. That's what he was really one of the first guys I noticed that was able to do it, where he was using the cage as part of his offense. Bret Hart and Owen Hart did it the same way. It's just, they have the ability to just do things based around the environment that you're in. I understand that the main event needed it. The main event was a war. It literally was a civil war, so it needed it.
Yeah.
This, you really didn't need it. Just use everybody's strengths. Don't use the weapons. Just because you're really desensitizing it. You're taking away from what the later on main event and what the meaning of that is going to be by having it kind of being like a cookie cutter same match. Oh, here comes the table. Up, here comes the chair. Oops, somebody's jumping off with a trash can on their head. It's like, do we really need that twice? We don't. You can do something completely different in the first match, and then the second match, it could just be an all-out warfare. That's just my opinion.
No, I don't disagree. I think it's a good point, and that's why I asked the question, because I think it's so important and so telling that in some of these cases where we're looking at it from like gilded eyes, right? Like, I agree in the sense that, the main event, the War Games match for the men needed it. It made sense. It made sense to have that. Whereas the women, I get it. I get it to a certain degree, right? Tiffany Stratton bringing the trash can in and then taking the Money in the Bank briefcase out of that, which nobody knew it was in there, I thought was a good touch. Io with her trash can, because she's going to jump off the top of the War Games cage. I get that. But past that, I don't really think it's necessary after that. Well, maybe the table with Rhea and Liv too, I guess, but
they could have done something with Tiffany where she had a compartment in the middle of the ring.
Oh, that would have been so cool.
Where she had a box in the middle of the ring where she lifts it up and the briefcase is in there. It could have gone another way instead of just, because you can't have both matches, I feel like, have all the plunder involved. You got to be able to have at least one tell a different story. and then another one telling a different story. I feel like two matches kind of doing the same thing that the first one was. Well, two matches really doing kind of the same thing, kind of same blueprint, takes away from the meaning of it. So,
I can see that. I respect that. All right. I think that's all we can really say about that match. I don't think we need to say much more. The next match, however, we could say a lot about probably. It was the United States Championship match between Shinsuke Nakamura and LA Knight.
yeah. I think you could tell when LA Knight. I remember coming out when LA saw LA Knight come out. I'm like, he's losing. You can just.
You know what it was for me? Actually, it was when he came out, but it was when he dropped the belt.
Yeah,
he dropped the belt during his entrance. So I was like, whoa.
Yeah. It was kind of. I don't know if he was doing the boo boo face, which it happens. It's a tough thing sometimes, especially when you're trying to keep momentum, which I think that he's had a long road. And I think that every time you get a setback, or what you deem as a setback, you kind of take it personally a little bit. And plus, too, your guard's up and you go back into that mode of they're fucking with me again. And it's like, I don't think it's that. I think they're just there's a lack of heels right now. Like there's really a lack of strong heels in the company. They have, of course, everything in the bloodline, but that's really its own universe.
Speaking of, we're recording this on Friday, by the way, just for those that don't know, we usually record on Thursdays. And I turned around and LA Knight and Shinsuke Nakamura are actually talking to each other on SmackDown.
So now it's like, so are they bringing this back? Are they going to, like, if there's going to be another match?
It's hard to, no, I don't think so, because I believe Andrade is about to come out right now. Yep, that's Andrade coming out. I haven't muted the background of recording it, so I'm going to watch it later, but, I just think it was funny that this was happening as we're talking about their match. Which, like you said, when he came out, and like I said, when he dropped the belt, especially in his entrance, I was like, yeah, he's losing. That's
you could just tell. Yeah. Like there was just a vibe from him. I was just like, oh boy. I don't think it's really a negative.
And now the bloodline is out.
Good Lord.
I'm very confused. So what's going on right now? And they are murdering both LA Knight and Andrade. And Shinsuke Nakamura is standing there as this is happening.
I wonder if he's going to powder.
No, it looks like he has mist in his mouth, actually. But he's just letting it drool out of his mouth. So nope, he's escaping. Yeah. he's leaving, I guess I should say, is really the
I love that. Just a perfect heel, just like, fuck this, I'm out of here.
Well, yeah, he had the mist, he let it run out of his mouth. And now they're just beating the crap out of LA Knight and Andrade.
Some could say that is a chicken shit heel move. I don't consider that. Considering it's just
that's not chicken.
No, it's just like 5 people, like just 4 people out, 4 or 5 people out. There's 3 people out here. Fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah,
it's like really.
Yeah, so we'll get to that in the main event segment because 3 people in that match got hurt.
3.
Yep, it was originally 2, but then it was found out to be 3. So, fun times. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this match. I think it was exactly what we kind of talked about the week before, that either he's going to win dominantly or he's going to lose, and he lost. I don't... Shinsuke Nakamura looked pretty good in victory, I thought. Dropping him on his head in between the rings, in that metal piece, and then hitting the Kinshasa on him. I thought, it is what it is.
Yeah, I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I really didn't.
It wasn't the best match on the card, but it didn't need to be.
No, it didn't. It wasn't set up to be really the best match on the card.
No, it wasn't. I think it was set up for a pop and a shock, and that was kind of what they got. So, all right. The next match, also a title match for the Intercontinental title. Braun Breaker versus Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser.
This was damn good.
I was surprised by this. I expected it to be good,
Yeah.
but not as good as it actually was.
This was damn good. Like, it just really was really hard hitting.
Some of the timing that they had too in this match was excellent.
It just was. I felt like it was paced perfectly.
It was. Yeah.
Everybody got a chance really to shine. I thought Kaiser really now. Kaiser's in a position where I think people really need to start taking him seriously. It really is a contender also for titles. I think he's got the talent for it. He's kind of got the personality for it as well. I feel like you can have him even away, if you wanted to move him away from Gunther. I feel like he can be able to stand on his own. He's got the ability to do so.
I think he needs to feud with Gunther down the road, actually, to be honest.
Probably is going to happen at some point.
I think he should. I don't think he should turn face. I think maybe Gunther turns face or something, but.
Well, there is a rumor that Gunther is going to be turning face in 2025.
I've heard that rumor as well.
After if he's has to deal with Oldberg. Or Shitberg, for that matter.
It might. I don't know. It might be zero.
I agree. It should be 0 times that he deals with Goldberg.
Goldberg. Yeah, but it was really, really good. Like, it was really good match. Sheamus has really had an interesting kind of second half of his career of just being able to kind of get some really great matches under his belt, where, not saying that he was a terrible performer or anything, but he was in just a lot of matches that just, let's just say, I really don't feel like they were memorable. I feel like the matches, the runs that he's been on lately has just been really, really good.
I don't want to say any of that. Excuse me. What I will say instead, though, is I think Sheamus is getting put into some phenomenal matchups with some phenomenal talent. A lot of them being younger guys like Gunther, like Ludwig Kaiser, and like Braun Breaker. And he's had some shots to be in high-profile matches with other talent like Edge's, Adam Copeland's basically retirement match from WWE.
Yes.
I think that is why it's all the more memorable versus some of his previous stuff with like Big Show and Santino Marella and Cena and others, to a point where it's like, it was good, it was okay, but looking at what he's doing now feels more important and therefore more memorable.
I agree. And Braun Breaker, every time he performs, I'm just like, God, this guy. It's like the next 5 to 10 years, this guy's going to be fun. He, as an athlete, he's just on a different level where he's just like, this guy's just, he's fantastic. Like, everything he does in the ring, it looks good.
Well, that's what I was saying about the timing. I don't want to cut you off here, but it's so important to talk about this. When we're talking about Braun Breaker, right? There was that point where Sheamus is on the outside. Ludwig is about to do that, like, run around the ring and kick him in the face thing.
Yep.
And Braun Breaker just comes out of nowhere and does a baseball slide right into his face.
Yep.
The timing that has to take to hit him as he's mid-flight running, I thought was just so cool. I'm like, I don't know if anybody is going to hit that. And Braun pulled it off, man. And it looked good, too. And a lot of stuff Braun did in this match looked good. Yeah, that's
some of those clotheslines. You're just sitting there, oh my God. He's got his dad's clothesline. Like, he really does. It's legitimately perfect. Like, I look at it and I'm just like, it's Rick's clothesline. Like everything he does looks fantastic. He takes it seriously. He's got the pedigree for it. And every time he's out there performing, I'm just like, yeah, he's ready. If you wanted to give him the fucking belt tomorrow, I'd be on the train with it. Fuck it. Like, he's ready. So it's all, but you're going to see him in War Games matches. Within the next 2 years, this kid's going to be in the conversation, at least, for the World Heavyweight Championship.
You know what, man?
For the Universal
I'm going to say it this way. I think he already is. It's very rare that you see a heel, especially a young heel, that is already in with the crowd. The crowd loves Rob Breaker too.
They do. That's the thing.
It's like him and Tiffany Stratton. You got two heels, both male and female, that the crowd loves them.
And they're both under 30.
Yep. Exactly.
It's like you're just looking at those two. It's just like, yes, the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
It's like you got these two. You're like, yes, we're gonna be down. You like that because you need the young stars. You need to be able to count on them because, yeah, I mean, you do have young talent. You still got Rhea Ripley. You still got your Dominic Mysterios and things like that. I mean, Dominic is a great talent, but he's not Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is just another fucking animal of just someone that you could just drive out there that's just going to be able to maim and kill people and make it look good and make it look legitimate. And also be over as fuck. I mean, this is what you want. And I feel like with Braun Breaker, he's been able to keep his credibility and not have people think that he's just being shoved down our throats. It's organic. And I think that
anybody thinks that they're foolish.
Yeah, it's not. I don't see many people going out there and just be like, "Buh." It's like, nope, kids for real.
It's hard to say otherwise, honestly, in my opinion. Like you see it, right? It's like you see some of the talent that a lot of these guys have, the girls have, and you look at it from a perspective of like Sheamus has been doing this for over 20 years. I feel like at this point, guys like Randy Orton been doing it for over 20 years at this point. Gunther, maybe he hasn't been in the business as long, but still been in the business long enough. Damian Priest has put himself in a position to really get himself over and make himself look good. He dropped a lot of weight over the years to get to this point. Braun Breaker is what? 26? 27? Yep. Something like that? Dude's ready now to do this stuff. He was doing it already in NXT. He's 27. He just turned 27 in October.
Okay.
So, again, like, you have this guy, he's ready. I don't think putting an IC championship on him is shoving it down our throats. I just don't. Because if you look at it from that perspective of like, oh, he's on TV all the time, so is Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
Like, do you feel that Cody is shoved down our throat? Probably more so than Braun Breaker at this point, I feel like, if you're going to make that analogy. But listen, they're two different beasts entirely, and I think Braun Breaker, as you mentioned, Dan, over the next 5 years or so, you're going to see him that much more often. And he's probably going to have a championship around his waist. And
without question.
I don't think it's going to be a mid-card title. I think it's going to be either title, whether it's the World Heavyweight title or the WWE title. It's going to have something.
Yes. I think that is the ultimate direction for Braun Breaker, and I think that is a direction that everybody's going to need to get on board with. I think everybody is already on board with it, but if they aren't, they're going to need to be because he's the future without question. So,
but to your point about Kaiser too, man, I think even you can't sleep on him.
No, you can't.
You can't. Is he going to be world champion or WWE champion?
It's possible. You don't rule it out, but
it is possible. He's got a great pedigree. He looks good. He looks the part. He's still a really good heel. Even if they turn him face, I think he'd be good at it. But he's got raw talent too.
He does.
And Sheamus, his part, who knows? Who's to say at this point? Just no more, no more brawling birds, please. That's all.
Leave Peter Dune alone and just have him be Butch. Don't let him be Butch.
Yeah, we can talk about that if we talk about Raw.
Rich Holland.
Yeah. Just keep that guy away. That's all I'm going to say. We can talk about him when we talk about Raw as well, actually, I guess, considering what happened for somebody else that was there. Anyways, the next match of Survivor Series before the main event was for the World Heavyweight Championship. Champion Gunther against Damian Priest.
Yep. And guess what happened? Exactly what we said was going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, he's not done with Finn Balor. Oh, Finn Balor is coming to cost him the title.
I think he is done with Finn Balor. I just think Finn Balor was clearly not done with him.
Exactly.
That's really what the problem was.
I'm moving on with it. Finn Balor's like, no, you're not, motherfucker.
No, you're not. I didn't see the injury angle of the match coming. I didn't think this was going to be a almost 20-minute match. Because it was 19 minutes and 20 seconds.
Right.
I thought they would let him go like 10 or so, and then that's when Finn Balor would come out. But they didn't do it that way. They let it go pretty much. I thought Gunther kicking Finn Balor was hilarious. I'm sorry. Just comes up on him and kicks him straight in the face. I thought it was a very sound match, a very technical match, and it was something different, especially for Damian Priest to kind of see some submission moves that he tried to make. But I don't know. Where it was in the card and what was coming after it, it almost felt like filler.
Yeah, they were in a tough spot because
they were.
They were in because everybody was in the Braun Breaker match. Everybody was in the Shinsuke match. I felt like with LA Knight. Of course, the women's match that was going to be tough to kind of recover from because it's a exhausting, really kind of fun type of matchup.
Right.
So I felt like the position that Gunther and Damian were in was, well, we're right before the main event, so everybody's going to be rushing to kind of get to that that matchup. And considering who's involved with it, it's like, yeah, we're kind of playing second fiddle here.
Yep.
So,
yep.
I thought it was good for what it was.
I agree. I think it was a very good match. Seeing different submission moves from both of them, I thought was good. I don't know. I think you're 100% right with what you said, and obviously I know I kind of echoed it before you, but it's one of those things where it's like if this was second or third, I don't think I wouldn't have not cared as much or cared.
Right.
I don't know. But after Shin and LA Knight and that kind of, I don't want to say shocking, but upset maybe for a lot of people of LA Knight losing to him, having the slugfest that was Braun Breaker and Sheamus and Kaiser to then go into this kind of slow, methodical, kind of technical wrestling, I don't even know what to call it, exhibition almost of Gunther and Damian Priest, and have it be kind of a similar result of Finn Balor coming out. It just fell flat for me. It was a good match, don't get me wrong, but it was one of those matches that I'm like, if they left this off the card, I wouldn't have been disappointed.
No, I agree. If they made it like Raw, if this was a Raw main event, it would have been fine. Or if they just saved it for Saturday night's main event, which they went another direction. We'll get to that later.
Well, I feel like the same thing is just going to happen in reverse for that one, but
yes, you're right. I mean, it's pretty much the same day, same song and dance, just different person.
Yep.
But
I mean, just the same people, just in different roles, really.
Except
exactly.
Gunther's the only one in the same role.
Gunther's just like, damn it! I just want to win this on my own.
Yep.
But yeah, it was good. I wouldn't say it was
a good match,
great,
yeah.
but it was good.
Yeah.
I think we definitely expected Gunther to come out of this thing. We knew that Finn was probably going to screw him over, which he did.
Yep.
So yeah, I wasn't really surprised with really anything of how anything played out, to be quite honest.
Yep. All right, and then that brings us to the main event. We have the OG Bloodline, Roman Reigns, the Usos, Jay and Jimmy Uso, Sammy Uso, a.k.a. Sami Zayn, and CM Punk, the best in the world, against the new Bloodline of Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and special guest Bronson Reed.
And guest star Bronson Reed!
Yep. Oh, I could think
as
of
the
those
neighbor.
Cheesy, yeah, I was just thinking of those cheesy like 80s shows that have all that stuff on there.
Too many cooks. No, that ain't it.
I just you know what it is for me about this match. I will go through the injuries first because you said you only knew about 2 of them. So the OG Bloodline, this was reported on the press conference afterwards. Jimmy Uso broke his toe. It happened when he was going for a frog splash on the table. His toe hit first. In a similar fashion as to kind of what happened with Bronson Reed. When Bronson Reed hit the table, when CM Punk pulled Roman Reigns off of the table, it looked like at least ankle, if not foot, was broken.
Yeah.
And I am trying to remember, I think it was Tonga Loa. Let me think. Yeah, it was Tonga Loa. I guess I think he pulled his bicep or something when CM Punk was trying to hit him with the toolbox.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if he tore it or what, but it looked like he tore it. So big loss there, obviously. Tonga Loa. But that was announced on SmackDown right before we started, so I figured I'd bring that up. We knew about at least 2 of those injuries, being Bronson Reed and Jimmy Uso. We did not know about Tonga Loa until tonight. So
I'm not surprised about the injuries, especially with Bronson Reed's. Yeah, it is a dangerous match. I was surprised to see a Punk walked away okay with it.
Me too.
To be quite honest, I'm like, oh boy.
Me too.
I'm like, come on. Talk about at certain points this was the closest to a Disney, like, I felt like I was watching Mighty Ducks at a certain point. When Paul comes down and he's talking to Punk and Roman, and it's like when Adam Banks got added to the Ducks, because they're just like, we don't fucking want him here, and it's just like, yeah, but he's really good, and it's just like, oh, they gotta play, and
but hold on, so I'm sorry. Let's backtrack for a second.
Yeah,
you're jumping way ahead for a sec.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the openings first, because
there's
so much depth here to this entire match. I don't want to go right to the start of the actual War Games when all 10 are in there. I think we need to work to that. Because, I'm sorry, the new Bloodline comes out, Bronson Reed in tow, all at the same time. Which I thought was a good touch, because you never really see that anymore. All right? You just don't.
No.
And then Jimmy comes out. And then Sammy comes out. And then CM Punk comes out. And then Roman comes out. They don't even wait for Jay to come out. They all just go in the cage. And then block out cage. In the penalty box, as it were. Then Jay comes out. Meanwhile, Tama Tonga is like freaking like monkey in the cage, monkeying around like the top.
He looked like Mario in Super Mario World.
Was that what somebody said?
Yeah.
I don't remember. There are so many memes to this. And I was just like, oh man, you're right. That was one of them. I forgot. You're right. And all right, whatever. The match starts.
or starts in quotes, because technically it doesn't start till all of them in the ring. So whatever, they fight for a little bit, and CM Punk kind of wants to go, and then Roman makes Sammy go. A little bit later, all right, Roman's getting ready. He's doing his little, popping his shit out and everything. Okay, I'm going in. And then CM Punk just rushes past him. Like, fuck this. It was just so great for the storytelling aspect. And then, like you said, Paul comes out and is like, best of the world, tribal chief, you need to work together, blah, 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 blah. And then CM Punk saves him later in the match, like we said, with Bronson Reed about to do the tsunami off the top of the cage.
One of my other favorite moments was when Roman finally enters the ring. Everybody from the OG bloodline is laid out in the ring, and he's lifting everybody up. He grabs everybody's hands and lifts them up. When it comes to Punk, though, he just walks right by him. It's like, oh God!
But you know what the funniest thing about Roman getting to the ring was? So, for those that
they padlocked the door.
Yes, so that's what I was gonna say. So for those that didn't watch. Solo padlocks the door before Roman is even out of the penalty box, right? And then he's like, "Where's the key? Where's the key to the refs?" Refs like, oh, fucking no. So he starts climbing the side, and meanwhile, you'd think that the bloodline, Solo's bloodline, would be like, okay, trying to push in and everything to get him. No, they wait for him to get to the top, which is kind of weird. My favorite moment is. I don't know the order in which this happened. I think that Bronson Reed was one of the last guys to try to meet him at the top of the cage.
Yes.
And Bronson Reed falls on his junk on the top rope. And they pan to Roman, who's looking at the crowd just laughing. He's got a huge smile on his face, laughing. And I'm just like, you're all right, dude. You're all right. You get it. You get that shit's actually funny.
Yeah, he just starts laughing. It's just the middle of the match, and it's just like. But everything with Punk that just was so fucking brilliant. They didn't even need to say a word. Like the way that Punk looked at him when he blocked him from going into the War Games, I'm just like, motherfucker, what are you doing?
Yep.
And then the other great picture is both of them just leaning up against the cage, like they're just like, why are you here? This is the worst. Like Punk's facial reaction, just like.
I forgot to mention this when CM Punk came out for his entrance before Roman. He got up into the other penalty box and shoved a couple of them. Apparently,
always a bully.
I heard that wasn't scripted, and I guess people were talking about it. I guess they're also talking about it on a Pro Wrestling World Facebook page.
Of course. Look at that jerk Phil again.
Yeah, and I'm just like, dude, it made sense to the storyline. And it made sense for the character. I don't even care. He didn't need to say anything to piss somebody off. He just comes up, shoves them a little bit. That's it.
My other favorite moment too is when everybody else is down in the ring, and then Punk is in there with everybody else is the whole bloodline just standing around him, and he just fucking slaps Solo, and then he just starts getting beaten the piss out of by all of them. Yeah, all right, I'm gonna get my shot, at least one shot in.
I'm gonna say one more thing because I think it's so important, because I remember texting this to you during the match. They need to throw a belt at Jacob Fatu at this point.
Oh, they do. It's criminally. It's going to have to be a criminal case at some point if they don't, because I mean,
Solo.
As I've told everybody, this guy was going to take the shine off of Solo, and I am 100% right. Again, another one, and the fact is that they do. They need to put a belt on him, and they need to do it fast. But my lord, just talk about the high school drama aspect of the Mean Girls situation between Roman Reigns and CM Punk. The fact that we were it felt like a Disney movie of the 90s, of a sports film. It was like Remember the Titans at certain points of just two guys that just didn't fucking get along with each other. And now they have to work together on the same team. I still remember when Roman was on that table, and I was like, save him. Because I knew the spot was coming. You just knew. Yeah. You knew it was coming. You knew Punk, and at the very last second, he's right there. Like, he had no time left, but he did it absolutely perfect at the absolute right time of the drama of it, because you're knowing, Punk is going to save him. You just don't know when.
Yep.
And it waited to the absolute last possible second. And then Roman saves Punk at one point. And you're kind of rooting for it at this point. You're just like, okay, yeah, these two are now working together. This is kind of cool. And then, the ending happens where everybody hits their finish on Solo, which was poetic justice, I think, in the end. And Roman Reigns, it was a must-win situation, I felt like, for him coming in.
Absolutely.
Yes, just because of the fact that he had lost previously to Solo. And two, there now is a serious contender and serious consideration for, especially too with all the feedback that's been going on, because of the interactions between CM Punk and Roman Reigns, out of all of WWE's video, social media, out of everything, every interaction between Roman Reigns and CM Punk in the War Games matchup is over 200 million views.
Yep.
So now you wonder.
I'm not wondering shit. They need to do it.
Is this the main event?
So here's what I'm gonna say to that, right? There's two schools of thought, maybe three, okay? And it all depends on the great one, The Rock. Is The Rock available? Are you having him at WrestleMania? And if you are, who is his opponent? Is it Roman Reigns or is it Cody Rhodes? And at this point in time, I actually think it makes way more sense for it to be Cody Rhodes. Way more sense.
I agree.
Especially going on from WrestleMania last year to Bad Blood when he made another comeback.
I agree.
I then think if you can wrap up this Solo shit, it is Roman Reigns and CM Punk at WrestleMania on whatever night has Cody Rhodes and The Rock. I think that is 1,000,000% what needs to happen, especially at this point, because as they kept referencing, CM Punk earned a favor for doing this. We still don't know what the favor is. I doubt we even find out tonight on SmackDown, because we're recording on Friday, as I said before. I don't think we even find out tonight. I think we find out in a few weeks, but I don't think it's going to be right now. And
I wonder what the favor is going to be.
I think it's going to be a future match, and I think it makes sense for it to be a WrestleMania.
Is it a title shot? Is it something?
It depends if he gets the title on him at that point, because who knows? We still don't know. Maybe it's just a match period, and then they have a non-title match main event night one.
You think CM Punk, after his original run in WWE, when, if you remember the podcast that he was in, that was Cole Cabana, where at certain points he told the story of Vince McMahon saying that he owed him one. You would think that CM Punk would not fall for a favor again, considering the fact that in WWE, that was one of the main reasons why he said, "Fuck this, I'm out of here."
It's Paul Heyman, though.
But now too. Can you really trust Paul Heyman as well too for favors? And
Paul was the one that got him in the match.
That's true.
Kayfabe, but still
kayfabe. But in real life, anyways, it's like, Paul, can I cash this check without bouncing?
Wow. Wow.
Am I speaking out of turn, though, concerning the
No,
fact of we got to
no.
go back to...
No, I don't think so.
I mean, and look, and I love Paul. Paul is, I think, is without question.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Maybe it's just because I turned around again, but they're doing an interview with Kevin Owens in his car with Michael Cole. The interview is in the car. Oh man,
it's in my car.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. But yeah, that was. Oh man, it was a great match. It was great storytelling. I thought it was really funny that they sent Punk back out to take one more picture at the top of the ramp with them, because Punk was already.
I thought it was done. No, you're not.
Punk was already in the back. I don't know who actually caught that, and he got sent back out to go take a picture. And then of course he gets kind of in the front of the picture because he's like, I'm not standing in the back behind fucking Sami Zayn.
He But the fact is that, excuse me, with all the social media stuff, he's one of the top stars in the company. He's one of, like, in the top 3 or 4 right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's definitely top 5 right now.
Yeah, so it's very the amount of social media activities this has gotten. I feel like this has to propel this into the forefront to head to WrestleMania as a main event.
That's why I'm saying I think that it needs to be him and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. You have 2 of the biggest stars in the world. Just, it makes sense.
And moving into Monday Night Raw, this transfer seemingly...
Hold on a second.
Yes.
I want to talk about the post-show.
Okay.
I know that you did not really watch the post-show.
I did see clips.
You saw clips, yeah.
Yes.
Because I asked you at some points, if you were watching it. So there was this backstage thing with Damian Priest. With
the CM Punk stuff was hilarious. So
yeah, we'll get to that. They talked about Gunther kicking Finn Balor in the face, which I thought was hilarious. We could talk about Wade Barrett kind of instigating Big E a little bit, because Big E is on the PLEs now as post and pre-show.
Yes.
And instigated that a little bit, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, so CM Punk came out during the press conference with the Usos and Sami Zayn. And everybody is like holding their breath because of the last time CM Punk was at a pre or post show event, especially after having wrestled.
Yes.
Which I thought was hilarious. And you could tell that this dude was told, you are on your best behavior. Because he has this look like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do anything. What are you talking about? I'm not going to do anything. So he's begging for muffins. And then he gets these sweets and he's like, what the fuck is this?
When he gets when he sees the box and he opens the box, he's just like, he throws the box.
He like slides it away. He's like, fuck, man.
What is this?
And then he comes back for it anyways. Him and Jey Uso, man. It's him and Jey Uso is like him and Cody Rhodes. Like Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes.
Oh, God. It's Jey can work with anybody comedy-wise.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's like you can work with anybody and it's going to be hilarious. It's just, I could not stop laughing. But, yeah, so Monday Night Raw. We can talk about that now, which ironically enough also started with Jey Uso and Sami Zayn and CM Punk, but more so...
But also...
Well, but more so CM Punk and kind of explaining, hey, I'm going to declare for the Royal Rumble, or hey, maybe I'll be in an Elimination Chamber, and then hey, maybe Seth Rollins will come out and interrupt me yet again.
Rollins. Of course, now the Monday Night Raw martyr, because he's got to be the one that's going to come out and be like, I have to finally kick your ass. It's like, why didn't you do it a year ago? Why didn't you do it 11 months ago. Why didn't you do it back at the Royal?
Like bad for you.
Yeah, it's just yeah, exactly. Oh, come on. I pitied you. I felt bad for you. It's like, yeah, okay. It's like the same guy that you've sworn has. And the fact is, though, is that you have to look at it with Rollins. He has a case for why he feels the way that he does. It's the same way that Kevin Owens has a case for how he feels the way he does with Cody Rhodes. It's the same kind of formula. It's just in a different direction. But I did like the line with CM Punk when he was just like, kid, I don't even think about you. I haven't thought about you in months. And the only time that I really thought about you is when you had the World Heavyweight Championship. But then he just looks at me and says, and now you got nothing.
Yeah. That was a great line.
And now you got nothing.
It's funny because I really was like, it's one of those moments that it's gonna cook, and it did. As soon as he comes out with that line, I really thought about you in months, and back when I did, you had to settle. Now you got nothing. I'm just like, oh shit. That was my just wow. Okay, he went there, and it worked.
Because Punk is in a position where he feels like he's like, I don't have to fight you. You have to fight me.
He doesn't.
And he doesn't. He's right. He doesn't. And Rollins also could have said yes to be a part of to work with Roman Reigns. However, his reasoning for not working with Roman is validated. But at the same time, he can't get all pissed off and be like, well, I'm mad because CM Punk was a part of your team. Why was CM Punk a part? Because you said no, asshole. It's like, you said no. What else are we supposed to do? Just sit here with our dicks in our hands? No.
I mean, I guess in his mind, yeah. I mean, you laugh, but it's kind of the truth. Like,
no, I know.
There was literally no reason for him to get pissed off about it.
No,
and
there wasn't.
To say the shit that he said to Jey Uso, I thought was kind of like, really? This is the route you're going to go? And then,
especially with Sammy's just like, you can't talk to Sammy. You can't talk to Jey Uso like that.
Yeah, man. I just, we can get to that when we talk about the main event of Raw, because it's still relevant because of what happened a little bit later in the evening where Jey Uso got attacked and finding out who that was, which is ironic because he's on the screen right now, but we'll get to that point later. But the other one for me was Dom Mysterio. Oh my goodness. I just, Gunther does not want to give Finn Balor a title shot, which I can't say I blame him after the last couple times, considering he's interfered in those matches. But then he comes out and delivers like 3 coup de grace on him. Watch how it's dumb, Dom. Watch how it's dumb.
Yeah, Dom is just like, oh, you'll just lose to him anyways. It's fine. When have you beat anybody meaningful in the last 5 years?
Yeah, seriously. The other big thing of the evening I thought was obviously the 10th anniversary of the New Day.
Oh my god, this was brilliant.
Yeah.
They worked me good.
Yeah, they worked both of us. I'll tell you that. Because I saw this coming with Big E. I saw him being the manager, and then they took that away immediately and were like, nope, there are these dudes who podcast about this shit, and we cannot have them be right. We're going to change the script on them. That's how I felt.
That's the way I looked at it. They're like, those guys, fuck them. Yeah. We're just going to completely go a different direction.
They know what we're doing. We need to change the script now.
Yes. Literally, they tapped into our brains. They just said, they read our playbook.
They really did.
They know what we're doing. It went in a completely different direction than I expected, and I loved it. I thought it was great.
I would have loved it more, and I know this is a huge if he was cleared.
My thing is, he better be getting cleared if this is the direction.
That's 100% how I felt.
Because this has to have meaning to it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and
that's the thing, because he could easily team up with somebody else now that was friendly with the three of them during those years, right?
Aussie Jones.
Yeah, I knew that was coming too. That's why I said what I said the way I said it, just to avoid that comment. And you still did. I'm actually thinking somebody like anybody else, like dude, even Randy Orton, for all I care, I think would be hilarious. Him and Big E. Oh my god.
Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, that's true too. We could do that angle again, sure. But I just, in general, why is the main event Chad Gable and Cody Rhodes? Why? And of course, everybody is with them. Okay. But yeah, I thought that doing it this way, it works. And I'm okay with it. But to your point, I totally agree. Like, if this is the route they're going to go, Big E needs to come back.
Yes.
And if he's not going to get cleared, I hate this. If he is going to get cleared in the next couple of weeks, I'm okay with it. Like, that's just how I felt, because there's no way to retaliate.
Right.
And
that's the problem.
That's the thing. Like, they went hard on him. And they went hard on each other the week prior, and you think, okay, they're going to end it, and they're about to, and then Big E comes out, has his spiel, and then they gang up on him, and they're still together.
Yeah.
And now New Day is heel. And Big E is out. And Big E, is out. So I feel like Big E needs to find a partner and get cleared. So if he's not cleared, I hate it, because like I said, man, they went hard on him. And I hate that for him.
Or he just needs to come out and squash the both of them. Like, it's just, he doesn't need to be a
that
partner,
too.
You know?
That too. Or maybe he becomes the manager for somebody else that takes them out for him. I don't know. But I still wouldn't want that.
He needs to be cleared.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I still don't want that. I want him to still be cleared. I agree. And I think it's funny that they went from New Day chants to Big E chants by the end of that segment, because clearly he was the face in that entire situation.
Oh, God. It's like, which one's going to go heel? It's like, oh, they both went heel. Holy shit.
Yeah, didn't have that on my bingo card, like I said that night.
You left us. It's just like, what? Like, he broke his neck. It's like, okay.
Blame Rich Holland. God knows everybody else does.
I blame for him every day.
Yeah. So speaking of Raw, I just glanced over at SmackDown for a second. It just reminded me to talk about this. So they've announced that it's a stadium show for the first Raw on Netflix. I think that's going to be a good show. They also announced this week that there will be no more tape delays.
Yeah, I heard that it's going to go Raw when they're live.
Yep. So whenever they go live in that area is when the show goes live, and then you'll have to watch it on, basically Netflix, after it gets posted, basically.
I mean, that's a great. That's kind of what I think we were all wishing for, of just no tape delays. Like those days are over.
I mean, yes and no. I don't hate it. I don't love it. Because listen, I don't know what time 8 p.m. is in Saudi Arabia versus the West Coast versus Hawaii versus Japan. Like, I don't know that. So, am I going to have to watch it at like 2 a.m.? No, I'm just going to watch it on tape delay, on Netflix delay, basically, once the show has been fully processed and everything, which is going to take, 20 minutes, if that? Yeah. So, I don't hate it. I know there's going to be people that do, because they're going to want to know what happened immediately. I know there's going to be people out there that are going to be upset about this decision, but I don't think there's any real negative impact, honestly.
It really isn't.
Just don't come on social media for, a few hours. Like, I don't know what to tell you. That's the one detriment that I think I can understand with a lot of people, right? Is that, let's say they do a show in Hawaii. It's 8 p.m. in Hawaii, so it's like, what, 5 a.m. or something on the East Coast at that point? Something stupid, not 5
Something
a.m.,
stupid,
but,
yeah.
But it's definitely overnight at that point. I want to say it's a 7-8 hour difference. So it's probably like midnight, 1 a.m., something like that. So I get it. If you have to work the next morning, you might not want to go on social media to see what happens. You might want to watch it when you get home. And that, that gets difficult. I totally understand that. But, like this is what they're going to do. Find the time to watch it another time. A lot of people DVR the shows anyways.
Yep.
You and I are probably DVRing SmackDown right now. So it's like, we don't know what's going to happen until we watch it, but it is what it is. I just won't go on social media until I watch it.
Right.
But I think it's good. I no more tape delays. Everything is done. So if they mentioned Saudi Arabia as the example, which makes sense because they do Crown Jewel there a lot. They usually do a Raw after, obviously. They did King and Queen of the Ring there this year as well. So, I mean, you're going to have those opportunities to watch those at a different time. And like I said, a lot of people DVR the shows anyways. This is the same thing. So, I don't see the negative. I know a lot of people are going to feel differently, but I don't hate it.
I don't either. I think people kind of just need to get with the program. That this is how I think not just how it's expected to go with Raw, but I think this is going to be the future of sports programming and live programming in general, because it's cheaper and
I think it depends.
yeah.
I just think it depends. I think that after I have to laugh a little bit about it now. After the whole issue in air quotes of the Tyson Paul fight and how many streaming issues that they had,
Right.
I think this actually helps them a lot.
It does. It's kind of like they got that out of the way, so that way it's like, all right, well, we got 2 months to fix it, so let's fix it and go from there.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's you. So again, I don't know the time differences in a lot of these places. I mentioned Hawaii being one. I don't know if they ever do any shows in Hawaii, but let's instead talk about what was another place they went to last year? Australia, right?
Yes.
Australia is a good 18 something hours, I think. Something crazy.
I believe so, yeah.
Something
Something
crazy
ridiculous.
like that. So I mean, if you're gonna have a Raw and it's not gonna actively be online until X amount of time, later, obviously, then let's say again. I'm trying to think of the times. This is why I'm stalling because I can't remember any of them. I'm trying to think. So I know one time zone just off the top of my head. I think Japan is 11 hours ahead. Something like that. Right?
Something like that, yeah.
So it's 9 a.m. there right now. So if they do one at 8 p.m. on a Monday, it's then going to be 8 a.m. Tuesday morning, if I'm not mistaken, when you're able to watch it. Or when it would be quote unquote live, right? So if that's the scenario, you're gonna get people that can't watch it because they have to go to work, right? So then that reduces the amount of bandwidth on Netflix because not everybody's watching at the same time. They'll watch it when they get home. Maybe people get home at different times. They get home at 6 because they work all day. Okay, then that person will watch at 6. Maybe you get other people that don't watch until 9 p.m. because that's when they're done with everything and have the free time to finally sit down and start watching it.
Right.
So that helps the Netflix bandwidth issue.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have everything on at the same time, like the 8 p.m. Raw, then that's kind of the issue. But I hope they figure it out because the Paul Tyson fight really, I feel showed how Netflix is not ready for live streaming of events, to be honest. You look at Peacock and how many, they're able to get on at any concurrent time with the PLEs, and it's like,
And they've done that. They've not only done the PLEs, but they've had the Super Bowls at certain points, the Olympics.
Yep, all of it. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I think this is a good idea. It'll help reduce the bandwidth, but also the more tape delays, like you said.
Yep.
But
those days are over. Come January 6th. It is the 6th, right? I think
believe
yeah,
so.
it is the 6th. Yeah.
6th, yeah.
It's weird saying January 6th now without being like, yeah.
Yeah, next month. Jesus.
But yeah, it's gonna be weird seeing it off Monday night off of USA Network too. But
Yeah.
it's also gonna be a seamless transition, kind of, to probably the biggest leader in streaming right now. So they have a massive commitment they're making to the company. They have a massive commitment that they're making to Monday Night Raw as the brand. So hopefully it's going to be a success. I think it will be.
I think it is. I think it is. I think it will be, because there's so many things about it that can go right. Like they don't need to have all this random advertising all over the place anymore. They'll still do it, I'm sure, for the money, but they're not going to need it as much, obviously. They have the ability to kind of sit back, relax, and do more, right? Like, you go back to some of the stuff that they used to not be able to get away with, and I think they're not going to push the envelope too much, but if they wanted to, they could do it.
Oh, they could.
They could do it, but we'll see. I think it's going to.
I think cooler heads have prevailed, though.
I think it's not only that. I think it's the marketing aspect of it too.
I agree 100%.
If you go back to releases, I'll say it that way, of certain talents, because they want to do other things that maybe the toy companies didn't agree with, for example. I think you understand where I'm going with that.
Yep.
I think that wouldn't need to be as much of a concern. Obviously, it still is going to be, because they still do have those relationships, but it wouldn't be as much of an issue if it was just Netflix.
When your company is also dealing Barbie and toy and Hot Wheels, you need to fall in line.
Yeah.
Like, they have massive distribution and are a brand name. So it's like you need to be able to kind of be like, hey, whatever you guys need, we'll make sure to do.
Yeah. And that's the biggest issue too, is you have to fall in line with those sponsors. And I forget some of the characters that they've had to squash over the years, because the sponsor was like, yeah, no, not doing that. For some reason, I feel like Muhammad Hassan is one of them, but I can't remember exactly if he was.
Oh boy, yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not good. Not good at all. But to that point, it's I don't think there's much fear there about Netflix. It's those other sponsors that they're going to need to worry about. I think Netflix recognizes that this will bring people to the platform, and that is their bottom line, is to get more subscriptions.
Absolutely.
And I think it was very funny that somebody asked Triple H a couple weeks ago about, do you feel bad about any of those issues with Netflix and streaming after the the Paul and Tyson fight? He's like, basically, no.
No.
Like, it's not his business. He doesn't give a shit. As long as you
He's like, if 60 million
product,
people are watching and they got to lag a few minutes, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but I think that's all we could really talk about from this week so far, versus whatever's happening on SmackDown right now that I have no idea about, because I haven't been paying attention to it.
yeah, and it seems like that Raw is kind of been the more active show as of late. And next week we'll be able to kind of preview more, because next weekend will be Saturday night's main event. The big return to NBC. and Peacock. It'll be simulcasted on. It was announced today that Jesse the Body Ventura will be making his commentary return for Saturday night's main event. It'll be interesting if Hulk Hogan's on screen, if Jesse will comment or if he will abstain from, even though you're talking about a guy who's never been too shy to not share his opinion on things. So you wonder if he's going to throw a few live rounds out there talking about Hogan.
Yeah, I didn't really think of that. I don't think Hogan's going to be there though. I think if he's
it's rumored it's rumored they reached out to him.
That's great. I hope he's not. I hope that the only way he is there is some kind of video package. I don't want him there. It's not even a him thing. It's just I don't want him to every raid. I just don't. I don't think it's necessary. Your point,
considering the fact that he was the main event to the very first one.
But Dan, you already have
40 years ago.
You already have 2 world title matches. You don't need them. You don't need them. And that's why I said ooh, actually, because right now, after this match, Kevin Owens has come out and him and Cody Rhodes are going at it on the outside of the ring right now. So there's that. But, there's 2 title matches already announced for this. Gunther and Finn Balor, Cody Rhodes, and Kevin Owens. And I'm sure there's more matches that are getting announced. So I would much rather, Triple H come out and reintroduce us to Saturday Night Main Event than the Hulk Hogan. Just saying.
And be like, Jesse, the Body Ventura, yay!
Hogan's a scumbag. He didn't want to unionize.
Yes, we know, Jesse.
We know, Jesse.
But the problem is that Hogan was right. Everybody would have crossed the line anyways. It doesn't matter. Oh, they're all going to unionize. Oh, the other guys who won't unionize are going to work the show. Oh, okay. So
listen, I'm not going to say nobody would have. I think, the mid card would have obviously unionized, but I think the main eventers would have been like, all right, have
probably
fun.
Not.
Yeah, have fun. You guys can unionize. We're not going to.
Fuck this, I'm not involved.
What's that?
Because I'm not booked.
Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you.
Like, oh, well, Hogan got paid more than anybody at WrestleMania 3. It's like, well, he did draw 93,000 people to the house, Jesse.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
He's in the fucking, yeah. Is there anything else pressing this evening? This is kind of like,
think of anything. We were so hungover from the weekend and from Survivor Series.
Yes.
I think that was really the biggest news we had anyways. And then obviously Raw happened. It was just like, well, shit, now they're kind of cooking with gas again right outside of a major pay-per-view or PLE.
Yeah, it has been interesting with the company especially after this event, because it was extremely successful.
It was.
Again, with the attendance and the numbers and all that stuff is ridiculous. It's like, oh, we broke another record. It's like, what? The fact that they didn't even need Cody Rhodes booked on the show. They didn't have any women's title matches.
I was right about that, by the way. He wasn't even there.
I know. Cody wasn't even there. Like the 2 women champions didn't even defend the titles.
Almost.
They almost had to. But it was, it was a great show. It was a great show. I think the main event of Survivor Series was great. I think Raw has really picked up a lot of steam. Raw really didn't even have that much wrestling on Monday. Wrestling wise, it didn't have much, but the storyline layers, that first segment alone between Rollins, Punk, Sami Zayn, all those guys thrown in there. And then later on with the New Day, it was a very good story heavy Monday Night Raw.
We didn't talk about the main event at all, actually. I apologize. We didn't really talk about the main event.
Oh, well, yes, we can talk about the return.
Yep. So earlier in the evening, as I kind of mentioned before, there was a backstage incident. We don't know who it was at the time that attacked Jey Uso. Obviously, Sammy thought it was Seth Rollins, given the earlier commentary of what happened between him and Punk, and then Jey Uso and Sammy getting involved a little bit in that. So by the end of it, they're in the match, and Sammy grabs a chair, basically saying, "I know it was you. I know you did it." Seth is trying to defend himself. "No, I didn't. No, I didn't." Sammy throws the chair outside the ring. And then as soon as he does that, small package roll up. Seth Rollins wins 1, 2, 3.
Damn it.
So basically, Seth Rollins is out of the ring. He's like, "Hey, listen, man, love you, but you gotta pay attention." Something to that effect. And then out of nowhere, somebody comes in through the crowd.
Play more!
And then we have the return of Drew McIntyre, which I think is incredibly convenient that this happened after War Games. And he is attacking 2 members of the Bloodline, and also 2 members that teamed up with CM Punk.
And he's had problems in the past with Jey Uso as well.
And Sami Zayn to a point.
Yes. So it all makes kind of sense right now, the way that this is. So now it's Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre are going to align themselves because they have the common enemy in Punk. So it's like,
it's the common enemy in Roman Reigns.
Yes, and CM Punk now, because now, it's this butterfly effect.
You got a point. Maybe they do a tag team like they did with Cody. Who knows?
Well, I've seen some promos around where CM Punk it's not official, but I've heard rumors that they might do Drew and Seth against Punk and Roman at Saturday night's main event.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I don't know though if they're going to have Punk and Seth meet. I don't know if they're going to have a tag team match at first. I think they're going to try to hold that off as long as they can to get to a one-on-one match between the both of them.
They should, absolutely. So we'll see what happens, though.
Is that it from us tonight?
I was going to say, now I think we're done.
I think we're done tonight. I think it's one of those nights of just like, I think we're going to wrap this up. I think next week, though, we're going to try to, because the holidays are coming. Holidays are upon us, really, actually, for some of us. So next week, I am going to help for all you ladies or people out there that want to buy their significant other a wrestling memorabilia or action figure or something for them for Christmas next year. I am going to give you some tips and also probably help out my own cause, because Steph will probably be watching it and being able to pick up some ideas on what she wants, what I want. But the problem is that
to yell at you right now.
The problem is that the majority of the stuff that I have listed, I already own.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
Including the CM Punk Ultimate, which will be coming to my house, I think Monday, which is already, Billy showed me pictures of it today, Boo Rant. And it looks like the action figure of the year, which is saying something of how big of a year we've had.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
All right, then.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you for listening here on Diamond Podcasting Productions on YouTube, or not only watching, you could be listening, but also watching. And then, of course, on Spotify and on Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, under PWW Talks. So I wanted to say thank you again. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving, and going to get you ready for the the holiday season, because you can't say Christmas. Non-denominational in this program. So we'll be back again next week. We'll give you some holiday ideas for wrestling fans. And so on behalf of myself, Mac, anything else you want to close out with?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Well, good night, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Yeah.